Hello, my lovely friends. I am currently at Hollywood Studios. I am currently 14 and a half weeks pregnant, and I've never been to Disney World pregnant, so I thought it would be fun to do a video showing you guys what I do, what I'm able to do, make this more like a more comfortable experience for me. And yeah, so let's do it. So as I mentioned, today we are in Hollywood Studios. We are going to be doing Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom, and Epcot on this trip. We decided to opt out of Animal Kingdom because we only have 3 days in the parks this time around. And at Animal Kingdom, besides the shows and the jungle trek type things like the actual animal exhibits, which if you're into, by all means, but besides those things, there's literally nothing for a pregnant person to experience. I am very much a ride person, and there are no rides at Animal Kingdom that you can safely experience while pregnant. Dinosaur, Expedition Everest, even the safari, not safe while you're pregnant. So the good rule of thumb to follow is if there's a height requirement, you probably shouldn't get on it, because if there's not a height requirement, that means that they expect even infants to safely ride. And if an infant can safely ride, you probably can as a pregnant person as well. But the safari in particular, because of the nature of the ride vehicle, they suggest you don't get on it. So I'm going to heed that suggestion. For Hollywood Studios, there are a few things I can do here. There's quite a few that I can't. I have a list here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and flash the list on the screen. But Tower of Terror is an obvious no. Any of the Star Wars themed rides, there's 3 of them, they're going to be a no as well. Slinky Dog Dash, which my family is on their way to ride right now, that's a no. But Toy Story Midway Mania, that is safe to ride. That's a slow moving ride. Alien Swirling Saucer is listed as a safe ride. I'm not going to be doing that one because that one whips you around pretty violently. And even though Disney thinks it's safe, obviously you got to use your own judgment. And I've been on that ride, so I know that in my current state, I don't feel safe riding it. Runaway Railway is safe. I don't know if I mentioned that one yet. Muppets 3D is safe, which at the time of recording this, I'm recording this in September of 2024. It is still open. There's rumors that they're going to close it down for the Monsters Inc. themed land. So I'm going to take advantage and ride that attraction today while I still can. And yeah, I'll give you guys a full rundown of the things I'm able to do, I guess, as I'm doing them. But today is in fact a Hollywood Studios day. Tomorrow we'll be doing Magic Kingdom, which is by far the most kid-friendly and pregnant person-friendly park on the whole property. And then the following day, the last day of our trip, we'll be doing Epcot. So I'm going to show you guys what I do on those days as well. I may or may not get a wheelchair or a scooter for the day. Yesterday we just kind of walked around Disney Springs and stuff, and I struggled, not from like a winded or cardio perspective, but I was getting like crampy while I walked around. That might not be your experience. You might be just fine doing a little bit of walking. I typically run these parks without any shoe, but again, I've never done this pregnant. So that's a possibility that I might exercise that option today. I'll let you guys know if that's what I end up doing. Otherwise, I'm going to be taking it slow. Like I said, my family is off doing things that I can't do. And in the meantime, I'll eventually meet up with them and we'll do the stuff that I can do. And we'll just make it work. So let's get my day started.
On behalf of all the toys, I'd like to give you a nice, big Andy's Backyard welcome.
Welcome! New toys in the backyard? Welcome! I'd love to come down and shake your hands. Really, I'd just love to come down.
Friends, I am excited to report that we've been in the park for less than an hour and a half. We've already done, well, I did Toy Story Midway Mania and I got best in car, by the way, as usual. And my parents and kiddo have already done Slinky Dog Dash, and they're in line now for Alien Swirling Saucers. So within no time at all, actually, we're going to be completely done with Toy Story Land. And we've already got a return time for Rise of the Resistance, which I also can't do. But once that ride is complete, then the only things left to do for us in this park are Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Speaking of runaway, there goes my mask trying to escape. There's also, what else? Muppets 3D, Star Tours, and Smuggler's Run. I am going to be able to do the Muppets ride and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but the other two are going to be just for my parents and my son. There's also, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. Typically, I ride both, but my son doesn't. However, I obviously can't ride either this trip, so it's possible that we might just skip those two altogether this time around. That being the case, it's only 9:30 in the morning, and we've barely got anything left to do in this park. We thought we'd make this an all-day park, but potentially we'll be done here by like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. the latest. So maybe we'll have a chill day at the resort and go swimming or something, or maybe we'll park hop. Not sure yet. Haven't quite discussed it with the fam. But we're making really, really good time between lightning lanes and the fact that we were able to do early entry today. Hey friends, so we ended up at Animal Kingdom after all because we got through all of Hollywood Studios before 3 p.m. And so my parents and kiddo rode Expedition Everest, and then we were considering doing the safari, but I am completely gassed out. Mind you, it's very, very hot today, and we did not sleep very well last night, but I can't hang. I really can't, and I actually also had a full-on emotional breakdown over the fact that I felt like I was slowing everybody down. They did not make me feel that way whatsoever. It's 100% me, and again, your mileage may vary. Maybe you're not having a particularly weepy pregnancy, but I definitely am. So that's how that went. So now they are in line for Flight of Passage, which is my son's favorite ride at Animal Kingdom, and once that's done, we are out of here. So to reiterate, there's literally nothing that you can ride at Animal Kingdom if you're pregnant. Nothing you could ride safely anyway. It's also the hottest park. It's the most spread out park as far as like getting from one point to the other. So unless you're with a big group that really wants to do this park, I don't know if it's really worth it to come here in the summer while you're any stage of pregnant. But again, your mileage may vary. It's looking like we will be back in our hotel room way before evening, and I'm totally okay with that because I would really love some quality rest before we do a full day at Magic Kingdom tomorrow. I will absolutely be renting a wheelchair. Papa, look, we're here, we're here. Good morning, my friends. We are at the Magic Kingdom today, and we've already gone ahead. We did another rope drop situation, or actually I guess it was early entry because we're staying at a Disney resort. So we're able to come in a half hour before anybody else, and that definitely makes a difference as far as productivity, as far as getting stuff done. So we've already done Winnie the Pooh, and my family is currently in line in the lightning lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which obviously I can't do. We did in fact get I was gonna say a stroller. we got a wheelchair for today for me, and so far so good, especially when it comes to waiting for my family, because one of the big struggles I had yesterday was finding comfortable shaded places to sit and wait while they were in line or on rides. And the fact that I have my own chair now anywhere I go means that I just have to worry about the shade aspect. So that definitely makes my life a whole lot easier. So we have a full day ahead of us. And oh, one of the other things we did before we rode anything today is I took the picture that will eventually become my announcement picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert that right here so you guys can check it out. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna use yet, but they both exist, so there we go. After this, I'm not sure what all we're gonna get into actually, but there is a lot of stuff that pregnant people can safely do at the Magic Kingdom because it's a park that's much more geared toward very, very little ones. So for sure I'm gonna get to do Buzz Lightyear, I'm gonna get to do Aladdin and Dumbo if I so desire, The Little Mermaid, Haunted Mansion, obviously things like the roller coasters and like Tiana's Splash Mountain, whatever it's called now. I'm not gonna get to do those things, my family will be doing those without me, but I'll go ahead and I'll put the list here. It's probably gonna be a couple images of all the different things that can be done while you're pregnant at the Magic Kingdom. And any updates or whatever, I guess I'll let you guys know. But yeah, gearing up for a fun day, and I'm hoping I'm able to really rally today because I have the chair. I'm sure it's gonna be so much easier. Hey pals, my troll friend and I here are in Norway. We're at Epcot today. My hair is a mess. And there's probably a ton of background noise because I'm right next to the waterfall here and there's music playing all over. But I am hanging out while my family rides Frozen. Now Frozen is technically on the list of things that are safe for pregnant people to ride, but there is a drop, and the drop aspect made me a little bit uneasy. I've been on the ride a bazillion times before, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel like something that I would want to take the risk with while I'm pregnant. So I opted to sit this one out and let them go on it themselves. The things on our list for today for sure are Soarin', Living with the Land, the Nemo ride, Figment, Ratatouille, the Mexico ride, I always forget what it's called. I think it's like, actually I have no idea. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. And I want to say there was one more thing. Oh, Spaceship Earth, of course. Those are all the things that we're definitely going to ride today that I can definitely participate in. The only other rides in the park are Guardians of the Galaxy, which if you have not done it and you are not pregnant, I very, very highly recommend it because it is probably the best ride on Disney property, period. It's so good. But for obvious reasons, if you've ever been on it, it is not safe for pregnant people. And also nobody else in my family really cares for it because it's a very intense ride. So we're not doing that one today. Test Track is closed, which either way, not pregnancy safe, but it is down for refurbishment right now. And the other ride we're not doing is Mission Space, and that's because, again, nobody in my family really cares for that ride. It's more like a one and done for us, and we've done it. So we will not be doing that ride today. But there is plenty to do here if you're pregnant. If you don't have dietary restrictions, because you may or may not know this, but I eat gluten and dairy free. We're also here during Food and Wine Festival, and there's always one festival or another happening here. So if you're somebody that can eat freely without having to worry about allergies, this is a great park to come to because I don't know about you, but for me, everything tastes better when I'm pregnant. So that's another thing you could do here if you don't really feel like riding, or if you're waiting for your family to ride something that you can't or don't want to. But yeah, it's going to be our last day here, and we're actually hoping to get through everything pretty quickly because we were just surprised with a hurricane coming our way, and it's not supposed to actually strike until tomorrow, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to start to feel the effects today. So we want to make sure that we get going and on the road and hopefully safely back home before anything really happens and before everybody else gets the same idea we do and we end up in traffic and bad weather, etc. So that's the plan for today. Alright guys, so we're back home from our trip, and there's going to be a lot to talk about next week as far as all that's concerned. But sticking to the topic of Disney, we couldn't have done it better really. It was hot. I would suggest if you're able, go at a time of year where it's not so hot. Unfortunately in Florida, it's kind of a crapshoot because we went in very late September and it was still close to the 90s. In past years, we've gone around this time and it's been closer to like the mid 70s, which actually makes a really big difference as far as comfort levels. Typically, I'd say December, January, February are going to be your best bets for not sweltering weather, but just because it's winter doesn't mean it's going to be cold. And you also have to keep in mind that those tend to be busier times of year, so it's always a push-pull as far as what are you willing to deal with in order to get this benefit, right? In terms of the parks themselves, I think for sure, ratio-wise, as far as like things that they offered versus things pregnant people are safely allowed to do, Epcot is by far the most pregnant-friendly park, especially, as I mentioned, if you're able to walk around and eat. Great times are to be had. Magic Kingdom is probably a close second. It was kind of 50-50 at Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom is by far absolutely the worst park to go to as far as being pregnant person friendly. You could definitely watch the shows. If you want to make a day of watching the shows, then by all means, but that's pretty much all that there is to do there. Plus, it is universally accepted to be the hottest park, regardless of what time of year you go, because of the tree cover. It keeps the humidity like kind of packed in. So overall, if you must, you must. If it's like a once-in-a-lifetime trip, don't skip it. But if you're gonna go more than like a handful of times in your life, I think that while you're pregnant, it's probably fine to not do Animal Kingdom. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Number one thing I have to tell you, you must hydrate. Very important. Again, even if you don't feel like it's that hot, your body needs water. You're drinking for 2, so make sure that you're staying hydrated. And listen to your body. If you need a break, take a break. If you need a bunch of breaks, take a break. If you need to rent a wheelchair like we ended up doing, by all means. They also have ECVs. At the time that we went, it was $12 a day for the wheelchair, and I think like $80 for the scooter. I personally preferred the wheelchair, but I had the privilege of having people that were willing to push me around because I worry with the scooter that I'm going to end up running somebody over and then it's my fault. And I did not want that stress on me. So I have a lot of driving anxiety in general. So especially in a packed theme park, no thanks. But those are options that you have available. You could also rent off-site, and that's even better because then you have access to it even when you're at the hotel, when you go to Disney Springs. If you want to go off property altogether, the wheelchair goes with you, because when you rent them at the parks, they have to stay at the parks. You could park hop like we did, and what happens is that you would turn it in at the first park, you keep your receipt, and then at the second park you show that receipt and they'll give you another wheelchair. At that point you don't have to pay for it again because you already paid for it earlier. And you could also do multi-day rentals as well that work the same way. Point is, there are options. Don't push yourself further than you can go safely for the sake of like, it's just not worth it. I promise it's not worth it. Also, I suggest that when you get to any given park, look at a park map and figure out where the first aid building is in that park, because they're going to have air conditioning there. They have beds if you need to lay down. They have water. If you're no longer pregnant, if you've already given birth, they have nursing stations in there, quiet places to feed your kiddos. So those are a great resource. I suggest again you find out where they are and just keep that in mind in case you need to pop in for some quick AC or whatever. Again, those aforementioned breaks. And that pretty much concludes my experience, my first experience, and potentially my last experience going to Disney World while pregnant. I probably won't be back at Disney World for at least a year, all things considered, so I'm gonna miss it terribly. But if there's anything that I can help you with as far as answering questions that maybe I didn't get to in the video, or any advice I can offer. We've gone to the parks a lot. I actually have a lot of Disney content on my channel. I'll put the playlist up here actually in case you want to see it, but I'm always open to a conversation about the Disney parks. So leave your comments or your questions down below. I'll get back to them as soon as I'm able, and I guess I'll see you real soon. Bye.